name is Tori Smith, and I would like to do the MILAB child trafficking report for Thursday, March the 10th. If this is the first time that you're watching, there's a child trafficking operation that's nationwide. Well, it's actually international, and it's operated by DARPA and the CIA, and it was owned by the Bush family. Well, 19 members of the Bush family have been arrested, including George and Barbara Bush and W. and Laura Bush, and 5 of their trials are now over, and they will be televised at a later date. Yesterday, 43 children were gang raped and murdered in 3 locations, and these children were brought to the child trafficking operation by a group of criminals called AFRICOM. AFRICOM is a privately owned child trafficking war criminal agency. They picked them up at the Vatican. The Vatican is a major processing center. Well, it's the major processing center for children that will be raped and murdered in Europe. And many times the war criminals will go to the Vatican and pick up children and deliver them to the United States, and that was the case this time. All these children were from the Ukraine, and in the United States, war crime against the Ukraine, it's now over 2 million people have been murdered by, in the State Department with war criminals. John Kerry and Victoria Nuland are running this war crime. Heaven says the children would have been much better off if they had stayed in the war zone than in the hands of the pedophiles. All the children were raped at the Vatican at least 3 times each, and then African got in on the action there, and then they also raped them on the plane home. They were taken to Andrews Air Force Base, and 12 of the children were then raped by 47 Air Force males and 2 CIA agents. And then they were taken to 3 MILABS, the Pentagon. 13 children were gang raped by a group of 218 males, all Pentagon employees, and all these children were killed by the Reptilians. And then in yesterday's video, or the last video I did, I couldn't remember the star name. I thought I had written it down, but it's Ekto. I don't know how to spell it. I'm spelling it E-K-T-O, Ekto is the name of the star system. And I think the galaxy, I'm not really sure how to pronounce it, but the closest I could get is Tru-air. I just put T-R-U, comma, or mark, and then A-I-R. Tru-air, Tru-air, something close to that. There were... the population count for the Reptilians this morning were 42, and I think now we're down to 31. We've arrested 11. 11. Okay, I'm sorry. The Montauk MILAB was next. 8 children were gang raped by a group of 116 males of DARPA, the CIA, and the FBI. And also, they brought in Army Special Ops. And some people, civilians mostly, call a certain type of soldier a super soldier, which is really about transhumanism. In other words, if you've seen Star Trek, it's like the people called the Borg, where they infuse machinery and artificial intelligence units into humans. Many times they're hybrids, reptilian-human hybrids. And they were there also. And all the children were killed by the Ekto Reptilians. And in Roswell, 22 children were gang raped by a group of 86 males, all military, including 3 Joint Chiefs of Staff. And then all children were killed as well by the Ekto Reptilians. Because see what's going on with, they keep bringing in all these reptilians from other... First, they went out in our own galaxy, and they were bringing these dark entity reptilians in from a star system called Vedic Ansari, which looks like beta cancer with an eye on the end of it. They lived on the 14th planet there, and they were the ones that only ate humans. And then when they were gone, and they've had some horrible weapons. But when they were gone, then they started going out to other galaxies, and I don't know the names. And see, we don't know the names of most of the stars, and we don't know the real names for most of the galaxies. And but they were coming in from the Sombrero Galaxy and 3 other galaxies, I believe. And then this group, the Tru-air, it's either Tru-air or Tru-air galaxy. I think NASA calls it NGC something. But what had happened is, if you're unaware of what's going on with the process of the dark side, is there was a big movement. They brought all the Nazi soldiers and all the Nazi war criminals and scientists here to America. That was done mostly under the Freemasons. The Freemasons were the ones, Freemasons, NASA, and the Bush family were the 3 instruments to make that possible, because they were desperate to pull off another Nazi Germany, except this time it's Nazi America. And they built concentration camps all over the country and guised them under FEMA centers, or I forget what they're called. But the problem is that all their higher ups have been arrested. And the biggest group that went out that people would know would be the 819 that were arrested. There were 19 members of the Bush family, 12 members of the Vatican, the criminal that people call Queen Elizabeth. She and 7 others were arrested from, what people call her court or whatever. There's a lot of different names for that. And 32 members of the Rockefeller family and 56 members of the Rothschild family. And those of you who know the Illuminati, it's the same people. They've been around. They just coined that phrase up, I think, in the 1700s or 1800s by some dude in Europe, because they wanted to, it was like a new marketing campaign for their group. And, but they've been so desperate because they've lost the Anunnaki went out in the mid-90s, and that they were the true intelligence. And there was also another group called the Insectians, and they stayed much longer. And in this child trafficking program, the Insectians are also extremely intelligent. Not the Reptilians. Reptilians are stupid. They're incredibly stupid, primate, savage beings who think they're smart. They have a very large ego. Like the man acting as Indiana governor, Mike Pence, is one of them. And he runs around bragging to all of his friends how the police officers are his slaves, and they all do that. And how much better he is than us. The reptilians are gods, and they own the human race, and all this other bullshit. And but all of their intelligence and all their support is gone. And with the 819 arrested, which was, I believe, either just before or just after Christmas. I'd have to look up the date. I can't remember. But now everybody's fighting over what to do, and there's an old expression, there's too many chiefs in the tribe, because they all want to be leader. And then, of course, they don't have the intelligence or capabilities to do that. And that's another reason why they've been bringing all these reptilians in from other star systems and other galaxies. I think we've been through 4 attorney generals recently. And, and then they keep appointing a new man to be a new male to be the director of the international CIA, the director of all the different CIA branches like America, Europe, Russia, whatever. And then they end up keep getting arrested. So it's just like a revolving door with these reptilians. But when the reptilians come in, they get really upset because they keep saying, we came to feed off the humans. And then they talk like Klingon, we came to feed off the humans. They talk like really, they're all horrible. And, but it's just been super incredibly difficult because all the nuclear weapons are gone. They've all been confiscated, so these filthy low-life criminals like Obama, can't just set them off, so in what people call false flag events or whatever. But so there is a lot of really good news, and but the problem is they call it continuity of government. When certain people are removed, it's just other people try to take their place, and even though they don't have the mental faculties or the intelligence to pull it off, they are still trying anyway. But it's rapidly falling apart for them. And I really thank you for your prayers, because they're making all the difference in the world. And I know a lot of people are just acting on faith and they don't really see the evidence. But once again, I always suggest to everybody, create an intent to know the truth, because then you'll be able to connect to the truth. And there's many sources you can go to for receiving information, not just one, but many. I get my information from, I pull up people's DNA and start reading. And because everything we do is recorded in our DNA, and that's where I go first for information, and then I go to some of the various 18 halls and temples in heaven, which is basically just a higher dimension than we are. I mean, I know a lot of people have concepts of heaven, that when you die, you go up to pearly gates and someone judges you to see if you can get in, but that's all bullshit. Basically, the bottom line is, if you have 51% or more sacred light, you have enough light to generate the tunnel to go up when you die. It's just that simple. Thank you again for your prayers, and God bless your hearts.